Today we will discuss the principal techniques and applications of atomic absorption spectroscopy. Uh, the first observations of an atomic spectra was made by Wollaston 1802, who described the dark lines in the solar system. And then this technique was introduced for analytical purpose by Alan Wonsha, Algamate and Mills, and designated as atomic absorption spectroscopy. Quantitative determination of trace elements in aqueous solution. There are two terms. One is quantitative, second is the qualitative. Quantitative basically the total concentration, and quality means individual component. Concentration of individual component comes in the quantitative determination. As far as the principle is concerned, this AS is an approved term used when electromagnetic radiations is absorbed or emitted by the atoms and measured. All atoms can absorb electromagnetic radiations, and the wavelength at which electromagnetic radiations is absorbed or emitted is exclusively for a particular chemical element. In atomic absorption spectroscopy, there are various heavy metals, various metals. So basically, when we have to use a single lamp, we will discuss in detail later on. That single element we can study at a time, and this AL is a quantitative determination of analysis that is used to analyze many metals and a few non-ferrous metal ions. So basically we can determine the concentration of an individual metal. The technique involves the study of absorptions of radiations, particularly in the UV region, by neutral atoms in the gaseous state or in the free ground state. So basically, when we are studying the metal from the water sample, the metals, they are present in the ground state in the liquid solution. So we have to make transfer into the excited state by using flame. So here the first sample is first converted into an atomic vapor, and then absorption of selected wavelength characteristics of each individual element is measured by free ground state. This is the formula based on the Lambert-Beard law: incident light radiation, transmitted light radiation, and concentration. Instrumentation is this is the basic layout. This is the light source. It's basically a cathode lamp, and this yellow one is the coating of the particular metal, and this is the anode, and this releases the radiations, and these are lens in between. Then the samples, they are present in the atomization and flame. This is the flame which excited the atoms from ground state to excited state. This is a monochromator and detector, and the readout are there. The basically scheme of atomic absorption hollow cathode lens. Atomic sample is get atomatized into this, and ultimately this beam is passed to the monochromator, and then detect it, amplifies, and basically we get the readout. This is the original picture of this atomic absorption spectroscopy. This is the light source which contains the cathode lamp, and this is the sample which from where the metal is present in the ground state. Through the capillary, the sample is sucked, and then it goes to the this is the atomization chamber. This is the basically heart of the instrument. Then we are using the two gases, acetylene and air, which gives the flame. This air acetylene gas is there, then the flame is there, from where the sample is get excited state, and these vapors are there. That vapors, they are being detected by the light, and it passes through the detector. So whatever the readout is there, we are getting on the PC. So this is the light path is there. In this chamber there is a flame. The flame is there, so sample is get sucked, and this is if blue tinge is there, this means the metals are not there. If some yellow is there, that increases the concentration. Well, this is the hollow cathode lamp. This is the part where we are connected with the electric part, and this is the cathode where the metal is get coated on a particular, and this is the anode. This is filled with the neon gas. This cathode is converted to the element of interest. Basically, whatever the lamps are there, if the particular cathode is coated like sodium, potassium, calcium, zinc, so this is coated, and this generates the narrow beam of spectral lines. Again, this is the hollow spectrum. This is the base plug, which is connected with the instrument through a wire, and this is the actual photograph of this cathode. These are basically different type of this. If you see the structure, this is the one, and this is the different one. The flat is there, and this is the some zone is there. So this is the basically different type of companies are there. So it's a hollow cathode lamp. These are made of glass, highly costly. It costs about 30 to 40,000. Flame atomization. For atomic exhaustion to occur with the atoms have to be introduced from a solution in which the atoms are chemically bonded and solvated into the excited beam as free atoms. So this where the sample is get sucked, it's called a nebulizer. It's the heart of the chamber. The bead adjustment is basically for the flow adjustment of the sample, and spray chamber, it is in the near to the flame, and the burner. Two type of burners are there. One is the air stream where the sample is get heated at 2300 degree, and second is the nitrous oxide acetylene, which is the temperature 2900 degree centigrade. So this is nitrous oxide and acetylene gas is used when we are measuring the aluminium, selenium, mercury, arsenic. Remain rest of the animals metals, we are using the air acetylene gas. And this is the basically a nebulizer and the flame. So this is the front part and top view of the nebulizer. This is the basically the port where the capillary is connected and sample is get sucked into that towards the burner. So this is again a picture of a sketch of this nebulizer flame atomic. So this is the liquid sample where the through capillary the sample is get sucked, and from this side you are getting the flame, oxygen and the fuel, they are get mixed and give you the flame. So this is the basically tip of the burner where the flame is there. Different type of flames are there, like oxidizing, stoichiometry, luminous, reducing. If you see the candle, you will see the three zones of the flame. First is the primary combustion zone, then interzonal region, top is the secondary combustion zone. Then we have the monochromator prism to disperse the wavelength of the light that are emitted from the light source to isolate a particular line of interest. This is the function of the monochromator. Then detector which produce the electric current that is dependent on the light intensity, and this current is amplified and processed by the instrumental electronics to produce a signal which is a measure of light attenuation occurring in the sample cell. And photomultiplier tube is basically this produces an electric signal which is proportional to the intensity of electromagnetic radiations of the wavelength separated by the light dispersing monochromator. So readout device is basically the computer where we are getting the signal. This is how the sample is get. This is the reference material. Sample is there. This is the capillary. Sample is get sucked. This is the tube suck the sample in the flame into the compartment, and then in between there is a air and acetylene is there which get fuel, get burn, and you will get, this is the burner, the flame you are getting the clean blue flame we are getting, that is the sample is get vaporized here. So here the sample is get set. This is sample in the metals are present in the ground state. They are come into the excited state, get is atomized from the light source. They get absorbed and goes to the detector. Now, when we are doing the analysis, we have to draw the calibration curve. For example, you have a particular metal, say sodium. You have to prepare the different 5, 10, 15 milligram per liter concentration. That is 5, 10, 15 ppm concentration. Then once like in the simple experiments, once you are having a standard curve 3 or 4, you will get a straight line. So that is based on the Lambert-Beer law. So in the during the calibration, it should not be always curved when you increase the concentration, but basically it should be linear if the concentration is rightly chosen. So here, when we are doing the analysis, first we should have a blank sample, then we have a 3 reference material, 5, 10, 15 ppm, then we have a unknown sample. Okay, so first we have to prepare the standard curve by using the 3 standard, then we have to transfer the unknown sample to get the concentration of the particular matter in that particular unknown sample. So this is basically a calibration curve, absorption, 3 absorption spectrum, 135 ppm concentration, absorption versus concentration, and this is the sample absorption we can interpolate from the graph. But atomic absorption spectroscopy, they will automatically give you the concentration, and if you have some dilutions are there, then accordingly the final value can be analyzed. Quantitative analysis, it can be achieved by the measuring the absorbance of a series of solution of known concentration. So number of samples can be measured. Within a short period of time you can have number of samples. A calibration curve and the equation for the line, that is R-square value, can be used to determine the unknown concentration based on the absorbance. So once you have a calibration curve, you can interpolate your value absorbance from the particular concentration. And this analytical techniques for AS is basically sample preparation is very tedious one. We have to prepare the sample. Sample should be highly filtered properly. There should not be any particular matter inside, otherwise it will clog the capillary. And calibration standards, reference material should be taken care. There should not be any ignorance once, because your calibration curve should be there. Organic solvents, calibration curves, addition standard, basically this is when we are purging the additional method to get the sample value. So whether your instrument is working okay 5-10 ppm, then in the blank we are adding the 5 ppm concentration to check the method. As far as the applications of AS is concerned, it is one of us to quantitative method of analysis of metals. Any metal we can determine from the atomic periodic table, provided you should have a lamp. And this is used for the analysis of plant materials. Plant materials is basically when we are studying the phytoremediation techniques, like there is a soil is contaminated with metals, and we're growing the plants, then how much metal is get accumulated in the roots, then stem and the leaves, basically plant material to determine the uptake of the metal. Biological material, then food and beverages, chemical products, environmental studies. As far as in the air, is there any metal content is there? For example, I have given the example of luminous power technology. They are manufacturing the batteries. So in the batteries they have a problem of lead. Then air, lead is there in the water or in the air or in the soil sample. So that lead, by preparing the samples, we can determine the lead by using atomic absorption spectroscopy. And when we are practical precautions which to increase the accuracies are there, acetylene cylinder is very flammable. We have to take care, and this acetylene is dissolved in the acetone. So basically, when the level of gas is less than 10 lpm, we should not use the cylinder. Otherwise, acetone will come into the pipe and it will burst. Instrument instructions are very important when we are using the atomic absorption spectroscopy. So first we have to go to the instructions how to handle the instrument. Sample flow rate, optimum sample flow rate, adjustment of the flames, mixture, then sample inlet. Then this is very important, as I field ratio as discussed. Sample concentration should be within the given standard. This is very important. Suppose we have prepared a sample of 10, 20, 30 ppm, and your sample contains 100 ppm concentration. It's not feasible. It is go beyond your calibration curve. So you have to dilute your sample in such a way that your absorbance should be within the calibration range, standard range, like 10 ppm. Then thereafter you can do the dilution factor. Thank you very much.